So hello, everybody. Welcome to the Academy of Leadership Sciences, Switzerland. I'm honored to spend now 1 hour with you, 60 minutes. And my aim is to bring you some newest insights from the science, from neuroscience regarding emotional intelligence in sports. It is definitely one important subject because sports, they always have to do with a lot of emotions. And so we're gonna capture in those 60 minutes the newest insights, but of course we have many courses that we deliver worldwide regarding emotional intelligence in sports. Can you hear me? Can somebody give me one feedback?
Hello, yes, I'm hearing you.
Clear.
You can hear me?
Hear you. We
can
can
you
hear
see?
you.
Great. Can you see those slides as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your feedback. And please, you can interrupt me anytime if you don't understand something or if you have questions. So we will make 60 minutes. So welcome to the Academy of Leadership Sciences, Switzerland. My name is Fadil Çitaku. I am professor of medical education and leadership and emotional intelligence. And I like sports too. I used to play football, but for now more than 24 years, I've been practicing karate. Not to hurt anybody, but it's very good to do some sports, and we know the physiology likes that, and we get more emotional intelligence by the way. So otherwise, I have established this Academy of Leadership Sciences Switzerland, and I've been teaching for more than 22 years in Swiss higher education, but in Canada as well, in a PhD program in medical education. And I do run some courses and programs as well. So just a couple of words about Academy of Leadership Sciences Switzerland. We are based at World Trade Center in Zurich. And so on the second floor, this is a building of World Trade Center. On the second floor, it's the Academy of Leadership Sciences Switzerland. And we do offer 3 domains, as you can see: advanced education, such as, sorry, I have always to let people in because some of them, they are late as I can see. But I want them to join, all of them, so sorry for disturbing. Yes. We have, as you can see, short courses till PhD with some other universities and institutes in higher education worldwide, which we do collaborate, especially regarding master degrees and PhD. And we offer small short courses, workshops and so on worldwide. We do a lot of research because the Academy of Leadership Sciences Switzerland actually emerged as a necessity, because there are over there tons of books regarding leadership, and unfortunately a few of them have some background in research. And so we try to help the research of leadership to gain the newest insights from neuroscience, especially, that we can implement that in many domains. We do advising, consulting, and coaching for individuals, for institutes as well. And we say that leadership is learnable. And our aim is actually to make outstanding leaders, because we are really lacking on competent leaders worldwide. That's why we have such a big mess. I mean, very good, it showed us this coronavirus, for example, it made even more mess because we haven't been prepared. Actually, it's a great thing, globalization, but we didn't check about the safety at all. So this is about actually non-competent leadership. So we try to make competent leaders. So this is actually our aim. We do cover those domains, as you can see: leadership in higher education, in politics, in healthcare, in business, of course, in law, in sports, and in informatics. And all our activities are offered 100% online, but of course we can conduct courses and programs face-to-face too, in collaboration with some universities, as I said, worldwide. But all our activities are 100% online. And of course, we can, if institutes want, we can go and run courses and workshops face-to-face, no matter where they are worldwide. And we have done those activities for now more than 7 years. Our partners are many of them, just few of them who work very close with us worldwide in different kind of continents. And we have established the Center of Excellence in Zurich and in Ras Al Khaimah near Dubai. And so, as mentioned, we offer something face-to-face over there and here, but online as well, of course. And just some of pictures, actually, of some of our workshops in different kind of places worldwide. We have MOUs with many institutes and universities, as mentioned, and our aim is to make, as I said, more competent leaders worldwide. And all our programs and courses are 100% evidence-based, what the newest research shows us. I am myself a researcher, and I have developed 2 models, actually, of leadership competencies. And yeah, so I do teach leadership and emotional intelligence, strategic thinking, and subjects like that for decades in the meanwhile. And I've been invited in many conferences worldwide, actually, to present my research. Just to go quick through this. And I'm going to share with you, as mentioned, as promised, the newest insights of the leadership and emotional intelligence regarding the newest, actually based on the newest scientific approach. So we have established, we have developed a model of leadership competencies for the very first time. It was for Western countries. And I have investigated that time Switzerland, Germany, Austria, USA, Canada, and UK. And this was actually my dissertation study. It was a very big study, as you can see. And we have published a part of it in British Medical Journal. People who come from medicine and from healthcare, they know that it is extremely difficult to publish in British Medical Journal. But we have developed this leadership model that was the very first, actually, worldwide in this field that had such a rigid research methodology. And as you can see, this is the paper, but it was a very big study. It's just a summary in this paper in British Medical Journal, investigating those countries mentioned before. But my study has been now replicated in many countries and in almost all continents, and incorporates, as you can see, 5 domains here, such as social responsibility, innovation, self-management, task management, and justice orientation, which are competencies important in sports too. And within those 5 domains, there are 63 leadership competencies that can be learnable, if people want to learn, of course. Just to go through of that, because this model has been replicated in South America, because I have done Western countries, as you can see. Professor Mano, he has done a great job. He was a student of ours, student of mine, and I was his supervisor. But here, as you can see, we have together published that study over there as well. He has done a great job. He did a Master of Advanced Studies in Medical Leadership at the Academy of Leadership Sciences, Switzerland. In his dissertation, it was actually this study. He has checked medical education leadership competencies in setting of Latin America, in all countries over there. Very great study, very important insights. The other great study, we are talking about continents now. It is in Asian setting, which they have took our model and tried, to see those competencies, how important they are in Asian settings. Just a couple of months ago, it came in Pakistan, this leadership competencies in medical, dental education, healthcare, and they have taken our model as well. And 2020, we have done the second model, leadership competency model, Drenica, which has been spread now worldwide as well, published in Canada. And this is the contact if you want more information, if you want to enlarge your knowledge regarding leadership and emotional intelligence, which are very important in sport industry as well, absolutely. So you are more than welcome to contact us, and we are very delighted. We would be very delighted to help you actually to achieve your goals. You can take short courses, you can take master programs, whatever you want. You can take PhD. So we are aiming to be one of the, let's say, actually key institute worldwide who offer programs and courses 100% evidence-based. So if science doesn't know something, we don't tell you anything else. This is our aim, but we want always this complicated structure of the brain and insights to simplify for everybody, that everybody can understand and learn it. And I've been teaching brain for 22 years in Switzerland in healthcare, in higher education. So, but every day we got new insights from the brain due to the new technology. So I am learning myself all the life as well. Regarding the aims or objectives rather in this short session, I will share with you some, some insights about the brain and some structures, not very much in details, but really that you can understand that, how important it is actually to understand a little bit the brain, how it works to optimize your performance in sports. Then to recognize the importance of our model, Çitaku's leadership competency model in sports, to define emotional intelligence, to identify the benefits of emotional intelligence in sports, and learn 3 core skills that are required or requested to practice emotional intelligence, and to interpret and manage emotions in sport settings. And nowadays, we know, due to the development of the technology, a great technology in computer, in IT, in computer sciences, they enable actually people in medicine, neuroscience, and healthcare, and so on, to see the scientist, every scientist who is interested actually in biology and whatever, to know the structure of the brain. And nowadays we can really observe the single cell. So we can see this is the brain cell, those so-called neurons, and you can see how good they are connected with each other, with those synapses so-called. And as we are talking now, actually the plasticity of the brain, it is enormous in general, we know. So that means your brain, as we are talking now, and after this session, will never be the same. Not only your brain, but my brain will never be the same either, because it depends, in what kind of conversation we are. So with other words, our brain has such a big plasticity and can change every minute, every second, even depending what we do, what the stimuli we give to the brain. Yeah. So we see that actually, as mentioned, we can observe now we have very sophisticated computers, for example, and scans, which they can observe the single cell, and we have billions of that actually during the day, and to see in different kind of stimulus how that cell will react. As you can see, some of those connections, some of those synapses, they do actually occur, the new ones, depending what we do, and the old ones, they just die. So this is a process that actually it works every day, whatever we do. And brain, we can a little bit compare with computer, but it is a way around. So the more stuff you put to computer, you know, the less you can put in. But to the brain, it is differently. So if you put more stuff, you know, knowledge, especially in context, so new of those actually synapses will occur. So that means permanently we can learn actually until we die, and we will learn, and that's why we are here. Now, to go to some, just some information about emotional intelligence that will help us very good to understand. And when we talk about emotional intelligence, it's nothing else, just actually to get to know myself, my own emotions, and to try and to understand the others, you know, emotions. Because unfortunately, till lately, you know, we didn't learn at all about emotions. And even though biologically, the biggest part of the brain has to do with emotions. So unfortunately, the scientists and the school which we have followed and whatever, they were focused the most actually in this prefrontal cortex to get, you know, to learn some new knowledge and whatever. But we have actually ignored very much the part of emotions, which it is very important. And I can simply say, as a scientist of leadership, emotional intelligence, that's why we are in the very big mess, by the way. So yeah, and if you compare that, this is rationality, this prefrontal cortex. So you can say it is actually as 1 meter square here. It's not a big, but we have forgotten to deal with that emotional part, which it is actually as a Milky Way. And in sports, this is very important as well. We will come later on, because sports, they have to do a lot with emotions, with good emotions, and sometimes, you know, with uncomfortable emotions. Also, sports actually have plenty to do, or almost everything with emotions. And many of information to the brain go actually that without us being conscious about that. You know, just by, I will show you some slides as well, but for example, if you go in one new environment, you know, the brain sense the information to, I mean, the information go to the brain about 30 times to be afraid of that new circumstances. Even though rationally, we can try to ignore that and we say, yeah, I'm going, it's a joy, it's okay. Just to tell you, and as well, this part which we can control, or we say consciousness, it is a small one. So, and by enhancing the emotional intelligence, we can come actually to those information as well. So it pays off if you invest to that. Now, a little bit more in biology, and you can see, you know, that we perceive the world with our sensation, with you know, with touching, with smelling, with seeing, with hearing, and so on. And we get a lot of information from the lower body as well, which I mean, everything it goes to the brain, and brain has to perceive that. And it is one part, so-called thalamus, which actually it is, we call it is a window of the brain. So it is directly connected with the brain. And there they go informations, and we get a lot of information. Just to let you know now, due to the development of this technology that we are communicating right now, and the other smartphones and so on. So we get so much information in within 1 week that our grandparents probably didn't get the whole life. So this is a very challenging situation for the brain as well, by the way, to filtrate what is important, what it is not important, or what is less important. But to make it short, so a lot of information, as you can see, they come and very quick, and they come directly here to the brain, actually to this kind of emotional part directly here. And unfortunately, very slow, and not only few of them, as you can see, come to this prefrontal cortex. That's why we tell people sometimes don't get emotional, but I mean, they are emotional. And most of decisions have been made already in this emotional part here. So this is important to know, of course. And yes, so this emotional brain, you know, and especially so-called amygdala here, always actually questions, you know, and scans, we can say, the situation always, because once information come from the, you know, sensation, for example, I mean, let's see that goalkeeper, for example, because we are in sports here now, I mean, he will see always, you know, he will see the follow how who has the ball and what it goes and whatever. So he has really to be always aware. It's important, and this amygdala actually helps him as well to be aware, not that he sleeps, you know, or that he just chills, let's say. But so it is a good thing on one side, but on the other side, in general, so it brings a lot of actually unnecessary fear to everybody of us and to sports too. And actually, this is a barrier on one other side as well, that because we have a great potential, our brain, but due to this fear, I mean, many of us just resign, or we say, oh yeah, designated, we cannot do that, we cannot do that. And of course, this is as well education, which our parents, they were spreading fear, and teachers and politicians do a lot of fear, spread a lot of fear for their purposes as well. And anyway, so our brain, actually, this is because of the actually of the evolution of human being. This part unfortunately didn't evolve much, you know. So it is still now, we have just we don't have much now, for example, fear about one wolf or bear or whatever, but we have in social context very much fear. So this remains almost the same, this amygdala here. And now, what is important if you are a coach, or if you are a leader in one team or whatever, or each of you, by the way, has potential to become leader. And when we are talking about leadership, because many people misunderstand that worldwide, it doesn't have anything to do with boss, being a boss. It could be that you are, somebody's a boss, but a very bad leader, you know, very non-competent leader, I call it. So when we talk about leadership, is actually helping the others to grow. So everybody, I mean, can become a leader, no matter if he or she has that title. But we would very much appreciate people who have that position. I mean, let's say as a leader position, or you know, to lead somebody, that they possess some leadership competencies. That would be a great thing. Because the problem is that we didn't teach much people actually who have leadership positions not how to lead. They could have been great in different kind of sports, you know, but we never taught them, for example, how to lead, and that is a problem. They might be a great, or they have been a great players, for example, but when it comes to coach them to one team or to lead one team, if you didn't teach them, and especially to teach them evidence-based things and not a lot of rubbish, which I mean, many of books bring there in leadership, such as, for example, great man theory. That is a very big rubbish. There is a woman over there. I'm telling you, as a scientist of this part. So those rubbish books, with full respect for those people who tried to learn something, the time has gone. I mean, that people don't eat anymore, I mean, to learn rubbish. It has to be everything evidence-based. Otherwise, don't tell. There are many people's things which we don't know, and which I don't know either. I can tell you only what the science up to date knows about the brain, but many things science still don't know about the brain, and I don't know either. So now for you as a leader or as a coach, whatever, it is very important, because you are always in stressful situation during the game, and the others as well, or as a player, if you are whatever, team there, or administration, however, it is very important to calm yourself down. It is very important. And if you get nervous, I mean, we have those so-called mirror neurons, your players will get nervous as well, of course. And what it happens if you shout at them, so all the brain of those players will capture this amygdala. They will not be anymore able rationally to think something. They do everything in affect. Of course, they might play because, I mean, if they have, you know, did one cross of the ball, whatever, 20,000 times or even more, so this this exercise and this information has gone and in so-called basal ganglia, and they can recall that pretty good. But don't expect that they will be creative, something there. So cool down, it is the best thing which you can do actually, because if you shout at them, you know, this information will go in prefrontal cortex on the right side here, and he will be angry, or she, and will have fear, even depression. So if you calm down and if you try to give positive feedback, and even if he made a mistake, say, hey, doesn't matter, get on with it, you can do it, you can make it, you know, so that he's in the flow. So there is nothing which he can, I mean, that can stop him actually, and you will win the game. Those are very important things. And one structure here, it's very important, this connection. Now the scientists show pretty good, you know, that this connection between amygdala here and this prefrontal cortex, it is very important actually. And this part doesn't get very good, let's say, developed till the age of 25 something. And that's why you have many times to deal with, you know, players, no matter who are they, who are pretty young actually. And so you have to try to understand them as well, that they sometimes react, you know, very aggressively, and then they get one yellow and red card and whatever, depending on what kind of sports. I mean, they get punished, by the way, and they have to pay for that, and your team as well. But the more we train them in emotional intelligence, the better it is actually. So it is very much worth investing in it, and we have been doing this for many years now with different kind of sport teams, and they can see very good results. We have just done now with the whole actually nation of Croatia, with Olympic committee with and elected athletes. This summer we have, before they started in Tokyo the competition, we have trained them, and they have scored greatly, absolutely. So just one example, you know, so national niveau, but I mean small clubs, I mean very known clubs as well. We have been working and are working with them. And of course, you know, with the coaches as well, individually, and we don't publish that, you know, so we can support them just as they want. Teams, you know, administrators, we are here to support people, and just as they want. So I'm going to go farther with this quote of Einstein, which who said that time that you cannot solve a problem with the same mind that created it. This is, you know, very true actually. What is emotional intelligence? Nothing else. How do we handle ourselves, and how do we handle the others and relationship? As a human being, we are in context of relationship. In sports, always we have to do with people. Even if you play, you know, single sports, you know, I know myself in karate, you have one opponent, but you train as a team. Or in you know, in boxing or tennis, of course, you go yourself in ring, or in tennis court, but you have one team there as well, and in other team sports as well. So very important actually how you handle the others as well. And just to make one comparison of our model that time that we have published with the model of Goleman. Goleman made a great work actually regarding emotional intelligence. As I said, I did contribute and still contributing in leadership, but you can never have good leaders, competent leaders we are talking about, unless they have a very developed emotional intelligence. So you can see how they correlate actually very good, this competencies here. So self-awareness, what it means, so I have to get to know myself. I have to get to know my strengths. I have to get to know my weaknesses, and I have to know to know actually where are those resources which they can help me. You know, one coach, for example, cannot do everything, and he shouldn't do everything, but he has to know what can he do good, and where can he find help actually from the others to succeed. And the player, just the same actually. So it is people who have a stronger self-awareness, they have higher social responsibility, and this is a very important thing, of course. They are more innovative, as you can see. Those who can self-regulate, that means in emotions, because we have external stimulus, always actually stimuli, which, but if we can regulate, our emotions properly, so we will remain calm and carry on and do our job. Self-motivation, how can I self-motivate even, in difficult situations? That is important. Then empathy, to show empathy, within the team, even empathy to show, regarding the opponent team as well at the end, if they lost, to go and talk to them and whatever, not just to, ignore. And this makes you even bigger if you are a player or coach or whatever. And we see, fortunately, many of players do that. By the way, I just want to admit, people who have achieved very high success, no matter where, in most of the cases, they have one averagely higher emotional intelligence. Otherwise, they would never be there as an, on top of something, comparing to the average people in that domain I'm talking about. But we can never stop learning, actually. Effective relationships, very important, has to do with justice orientation, social responsibility, and other domains here as well. And we have just some data here that actually 80 to 90%, it helps you to succeed, no matter in which profession you are, in sports or industry and so on. Now, why it matters? So we can see, I'm bringing you here just some worldwide known athletes who were really extremely good, and with a very, I want to admit, with a very high emotional intelligence, because they would never be so up as they were, absolutely, or as they are, but even they can lose the control sometimes. And this is it. We remember that time Zinedine Zidane, one of the greatest football player of any time, we can say, actually. And it was a world championship, as I know, and he got provoked from his opponent, and he got the red card. So it's really difficult in very stressful situation to manage your emotions, it shows. And I was watching that game, I remember, and this as well, watching this box match. As you can see, Tyson here, he couldn't control himself, and he took a part of his the air of his opponent. And as far as I know, I'm not sure, but over 2 million he has to pay for that as a compensation, and got punished as well. So, and we have our captain, actually, of this football player, one of the best football players of our time now in Switzerland. Well, unfortunately, it's a great man, great captain, as we can see, and we are glad always in Switzerland when he can play. But it seems one reaction in his team there, so it costed him as well, this leadership position, which he had to give for a while, So I took those three, and respect for all of three are great athletes, absolutely. But I just want to say, when they even cannot control emotions, how difficult it is for each athlete to control emotions, and for every human being. I'm going to go a little bit in this so-called neurotransmitters, because they have to do with emotional intelligence. And those are hormones or proteins that they steer actually our behavior. And they are very important, actually. They play a very important role how we feel. One of it is dopamine, which it helps us to achieve objectives. And each athlete, of course, each athlete wants to succeed, has objectives, and this dopamine helps to achieve his or her goals. Another neurotransmitter which it is important, and or some of them there are many here. This cortisol, dopamine, it is one stressful hormone. And this is not good, actually, if it is permanent, very high. Of course, we have other hormones, such as epinephrine and norepinephrine, which, during the game, always they are high, because it is important as well that you focus and concentrate, and muscles get more oxygen, and the blood pressure goes high, and so on. They are important that they increase, but after the game they go low. But if this cortisol is high for you as a coach, as administrator, or for the players, it is a bad thing, because memory decreases then, and the immune system decreases, and you cannot really achieve much. And this amygdala, as I said, that it always makes us scared. And when this is hyperactivated, as I mentioned before, it is not good. And you can forget things, or even if you have trained 10, let's see, for example, the penalty. Many football players, many of them, and worldwide very known, they miss this, penalty, even though it's not very far, 11 meters, and it is such a broad goal there, and they miss that. And this is because this captures them. If they didn't get trained, how to control emotions, they don't score. They cannot actually score, for example. And when we see, just to take as example, Cristiano Ronaldo, for example, if you have seen him, always when he has to kick, or when he has to kick on penalty to shoot, always he takes a big breath, big breath. So that means actually physiologically gives the information, the brain information to get from the body and to come down, to go to the prefrontal cortex, and the information the way around from up to this amygdala, and to say, amygdala, everything, it is okay, to come down. So it seems that he actually practices emotional intelligence techniques. Another thing what's important to mention here, it's oxytocin. It is one hormone that or neurotransmitter that it strengthens. Actually, it can strengthen the trust, and that is very important in team, building trust. Of course, there is a great competition. We know that everybody wants to become, even within team, the best. But building trust, it's a very, very important issue in sport, and this helps us. This so-called oxytocin. So it increases reliability and trust, and we have to teach those young people as well this how important it is, because we want as a team to succeed. Serotonin, it makes us feel well and proud as well. So if he or she scores, everybody is proud, not only him, the coach, the parents, family, everybody, fans as well. So it plays one important role as well. And so physiology actually always must go on, so we cannot stop it. But very important is actually if we apply this so-called traffic light system actually. And I know it is not easy during the sports, but you have really always, stop, think, and then act, because you can do something which unnecessarily you can get punished. We see, for example, in football games, they go and shout against referee, and then they get punished. They get one yellow card, and then they go again and complain again, and then they get one more, and then they have to leave the field actually, and that costs them a lot, and it costs the team as well. That costs millions sometimes. Just really small mistake. And I wish you and your team, more dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and less cortisol. That's our wish. But let's go to some other facts of the brain. And here are, as you can see, percepts 30 times more fear actually, and 1 time enjoyment, as I said, in one new circumstances, in one new environment. And this is, we have to be aware, you know, so if somebody is new, for example, transferred and comes to you, this is that, even though if he or she plays pretty cool, so this is a physiology, and we have to embrace him or her and try to calm him or her down and help. Now, very important is feedback as well, you know, so our brain seems to perceive the negative feedback much stronger than positive feedback, and ratio it is 9 to 1. So that means you give 9 compliments to your player, for example, and you give 1 negative feedback all the time. That will be sticked in his head, and then he doubts about his capability, and you have to be aware of that, really, because we are very much focused negatively. I mean, that is our education at school, parents probably before, and so on. We do, I mean, 100 good things a day or thousands, and then if you do something less good, people will come and complain. So be careful by giving feedback. Very important, start always with positive. And then, of course, you have to tell how he or she can improve, but involve him or her as well in this process, and ask question, what do you think, how can we improve that? And then give the tools, you know, that he or she needs. And it's worth, you know, paying somebody working with him in enhancing emotional intelligence, because, I mean, paying such an expert, like I can see Professor Dr. Dan Zilu, welcome, colleague of mine from USA, or myself or somebody else. So you can actually save millions probably, you know, if you are because I don't know your, I mean, from which teams you are and so on, but it is really worth, you know, paying a couple of $1,000, you know, and it pays off. Yale Center of Yale University, Yale Center of Emotional Intelligence has done a lot of research over there actually, and they came with one model which really it's, I mean, scientifically very much proved, and they call it ruler. So all we need actually first, we have to recognize those emotions on ourselves and the others. But before knowing ourselves, as I mentioned before, we cannot know the others. So once we recognize those emotions to ourselves, it's important to understand the causes and consequences of emotions, of course, labeling emotions. Unfortunately, in each culture, and I do teach in 3 languages, we have very, very limited vocabulary of knowing emotions. And fortunately now this Yale Center of Emotional Intelligence are developing a lot of actually a lot of tools and vocabularies about emotions as well, translated in many languages worldwide. Expressing emotions, I mean, appropriately, you know, is it that jealousy, or it is that or it hurts something, or it is you know, something else, and regulating emotions effectively. It's a very important thing. Now the question is, sometimes people say, well, can we learn emotional intelligence? Yes, we can learn emotional intelligence, but there are some variation as well that nature brought us, some of us probably with one a bit stronger emotional intelligence and some with a little bit less. And we have at Stanford University, very old study actually, which still it's very important, which they were asking kids, for example, at age 5, something like that, would you like now one marshmallow, or if you wait, you get 2 after 15 minutes, for example. And they were observing those kids after 30 years, you know, always checking, and they could see those people, those kids who had patient who wait, you know, couple of minutes, they succeeded much better in life and in career. They misused less drugs and cigarettes and alcohol and so on. So that means that some of them, you know, biologically, they have a little bit stronger. But as mentioned, till about 25 years old, those structures, they are not developed properly, you know. So that's why teenagers, they do a lot of silly things, because you know, they don't have this inhibition to come to the amygdala and to say, for example, hey, please don't do that. They take, I mean, danger. Sometimes they really get accidented, or they even get so harmed that they die through that. I mean, we know in traffic accidents and things like that, for example. We have the study, very new one, 2018, and they did, and this is a very important thing actually, how the group influence one player, for example, because we are in sports now, and it can influence positively and it can influence negatively, of course. And we have the same study, to make it short, but they just, the researcher was asking, for example, this girl saying, hey, would you like now to have one's feet here, or would you like to wait 15 minutes? And she would say, for example, no, I want now one. I don't want to wait 15 minutes to get two, because they would get two if they wait, for example. And what it means, she wanted, for example, one, but the researcher would say, okay, you can take one now, but your friends, they wanted to wait 15 minutes, and she changed her mind. She said, okay, I will wait as well. And a way around, she says, yeah, I will wait and get two after 15 minutes. Researcher would say, okay, you can wait, get two, but your group, peer group, has decided to get just one. So this shows us that very important thing is actually the influence of the group. If we can manage one culture of leadership over there to put in that team, which in your team, it's a great thing. Even those who, for example, I mean, have less developed emotional intelligence, so they would just come to that culture, to that group, and go in the right direction and do a good thing. We have a lot of data research, but time, it's I mean, pretty limited, but we can see, you know, this is a meta-analysis. It's everything research here, as I mentioned it at the beginning. So we have, I mean, really a lot of profit, 22% increase of social skills and emotional skills, and this is crucial. In sport teams, you need this, definitively. And this pays off if you invest and teach your team and coach them regarding emotional intelligence and sequences. Nowadays, no matter where you are, as you can see, I have people here from all continents, as far as I know. So I mean, we can reach each other, so it's not an issue. And in many others, as you can see here, you're increasing or decreasing, for example, to conduct problems, because sometimes it costs, as I say, making one problem during one game or something, it costs a lot of money, you know, an image of that team, which is really very difficult then to brush it off, you know. And it still even increases academic achievement, as we can see, 11%. And now I have just to check a little bit the time that I sorry about this. We can see now here, sorry, just a little bit, I have to, yeah, we have 8 minutes left. We see we have this actually in our body, so-called sympathicus nervous system, and those are, you know, nervous system that we cannot control actually. Heart, I mean, beats, for example, like that. And we need that, of course, you know, in stressful situation, in sports, that is pretty high always. But it's important, just wanted to say, it is very important to activate this parasympathicus as well. That means that those players, you know, that they have rest as well, that they have time for themselves as well. They are very much preoccupied now with those smartphones as well. So their brain needs to be a little bit quiet. I know we don't have much time. This I would like as well to bring. You know, social pain, it is just as hard. It hurts just as biological pain. We had this study here at UCLA. I was studying over there as well, but I didn't develop this. Somebody else, Eisenberger, and they showed that if we exclude somebody from the group, for example, so one new player or something, you will see how he or she feels. So he would feel just as you injure him with knife, actually. So this is important thing. Everything is evidence-based. So we can see social pain here. So if we don't accept him as a new player there, or team doesn't, so we have to think, and tell them how harm is it for the whole team, actually, because it is just the same. You can see, I mean, the neurons fire here just as by physical pain. So those studies have actually been replicated many times. And this is about decision making. I wanted just to say, if your players, they have, in their sport 20, 30,000 times or 100,000 times exercise, of course, everything is here in this basal ganglia, so-called. And sometimes just as driving a car, you remember, at the very first time you were putting in the first gear and having a lot of problems and checking how, to steer and whatever. And after driving 20 years, so then you can drive and probably listen to music or whatever. So those are things which automatically come in even in milliseconds, and he or she knows what to do. So that means actually those emotions, they make help us to make a decision as well. And this is an important thing as well. Actually, we have a study here about about the mirror neurons. That means you as a coach, if you give a smile, so he will come calm, actually, or way around. And this is developed by the age 6, for example, 7. I just wanted one more slide somewhere to show sport itself. It's very important. So we see they can connect very good those. This is not a problem with your athletes, because if you are an athlete yourself, because you do a lot, so that you see benefit. A part of that you are tired, but you see a lot of benefit. We have this, for example, before intervention, we have after 2 weeks and after 2 months. So it really pays off. The best thing for the brain is, by the way, exercise. It's the best thing to train the brain. It's very important. And I just wanted to say one more slide. I wanted to show, if I find it here, that the brain needs actually this quietness. Unfortunately, we see some waves here, and we need those delta waves, so-called, actually. So that means when the brain is in one, we've got it here. This is actually, if it is a lot of noise there, if the coach shouts around and things, so in the brain of the athlete will go this, so no insights. We see, in box and things. And as I said, I was training karate. I went in the ring once with the world champion in kickbox. It's a close friend of mine, and of course, it was dangerous just to get in there. But anyway, I survived. But it is, if I'm just telling you, if that his trainer there, his coach shouts around and things, he will not be able anything to capture. He has to calm him down. And you see, in those so-called delta waves, our brain is very calm and can get new insights, actually. And this makes that amygdala, as we have seen before, to calm down, actually. And he or she can very better actually focus, because we need focus during the training, during the games, and so on. And they have discovered one, actually, this scientist Hopper, he has discovered one very, very important, actually, insight for science, how to calm actually the amygdala down, how to increase emotional intelligence. And afterwards, the other scientists have made this so-called having technique, actually, they named that. It's very, very, very simple, actually. You just, make a small massage somehow, to from your shoulders to your elbow, and this part as well, some massage and this and this. It seems pretty simple, actually, but we have data. I mean, because I don't bring anything unless it is 100% proven, as I said, research-based, evidence-based. But we have stimulation of those delta waves as mentioned before, for example, in chick here, 90 times, so we have in shoulders 5 till 38. So we have to this, regarding now this reference is scientist called Harper, neuroscientist, and it shows in the practice as well, actually, that it helps, and by doing, the hands like this, for example, just wrapping like this, and just as washing, for example, so it activates those delta waves, and those are simple things, for example, which everybody during the game or something like that can do before he or she, for example, has to shoot one penalty or whatever, which most of them, many of them, let's say they miss it, even the very big stars. So there are possibilities nowadays, evidence-based, that they can improve actually the situation. It's important, when we actually laugh, laughter, it is as well, actually, it stimulates those waves. And Mother Teresa, so she's, for example, was one of the best leaders that our Earth ever had, for example. So they laugh, we know from the science, 3 times average, efficient leader, competent leader, laugh 3 times more than the others. I'm gonna stop this and be for a couple of minutes with you, 10 minutes probably for questions, with one quote of my son, actually, Ardit, as he was, now he's serving in Swiss Army, by the way, but as he was 3 years old, he was telling, I was playing with him, and I was making some buildings, and mine just, they didn't resist much. He said, "Father, I give you one tip, make something stable." So I'm telling to you, I'm giving you that tip, make something stable for you and your team. Invest in increasing emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is learnable, and there are many people, just to mention Professor Don Silu, hi Don again, myself and many others are here to help you. Don't hesitate to contact us. You will really save a lot of money and a lot of problems. Thank you for listening. Now we will be here 10 minutes for question. Since my colleague of mine from USA is here, is more than welcome, of course, to get involved, to answer questions or to bring his opinion as well. Welcome, Don.
I'm happy to be here, Fadil, and I thought the program was excellent. Well done. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This is our aim, to help the world, to suffer less. Please, we will take 10 more minutes. So we have planned 1 hour, I know, but and do ask your questions, and we will be honored to answer them. Yes, you can even turn on the microphone, but I read the question. Let me go. Yeah, there are here questions. Yes, definitively they work. Yoga and meditation, absolutely. We have some, they increase emotional intelligence. We have data there as well. They foster those delta waves, as we said. And yeah, the more you do, the better it is, absolutely. Any other questions?
Hello. Please, I want to ask, will we have the slides of the presentation or not? Just to remember what, because we will forget, yes, maybe
sure,
some important info.
Yes, sure. As far as I know, I have your emails, all of you, and I can send you. Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
We share everything we have. We are, not
it's nice from you.
Yeah, we want to contribute to the world. Absolutely.
Thank you. We believe that the more we share, the more we will have.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions, or in the meanwhile, Don, do you have anything to add?
Nothing more than the fact that this program and generally when you address issues of emotional intelligence, It really is among the best and most usable and digestible programs that I've seen. You do a very, very well job, and you're spreading this internationally wonderfully. Maybe you could chat a little bit about, I mean, this was about sports and that sort of thing, but generalize it a little bit. How is what you presented today really applicable universally?
Yes, absolutely, Don. Thank you for your comments and the question. Yeah, absolutely. This is really very transferable, Don, to any domains. Today we had the sport, here, but absolutely this is very applicable in business, in healthcare. We have implemented this, and Professor Don, he teaches as well at the Academy of Leadership Sciences Switzerland, and we have really people from different kind of domains, different kind of backgrounds, and they always write to us or phone or tell us that it works, so they immediately, once they have applied those insights, which, as you could see, we simplify that, they can see the winning year. And we have, together with Professor Don and the others, many good, a lot of good stuff which we can share with you worldwide, and which we are doing.
Very good.
Any other questions, please? Otherwise, thank you very much for being with us. Feel free to spread those information with all of your friends, and we have a lot of courses which we can offer, and we can advise you, coach, and consult. Thank you very much, and all the best wherever you are, whatever you do. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Fadil.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.